Hello there and welcome to another video from Change Tips and Tools, and this is part 2 on how to turn Excel into a bingo game, and we're calling it Ivan's Bingo. Now if you want to watch part 1, then there's a link to that video in the description, and of course there is a support file based on where we left off in part 1 also in the description, so you can find a link to that file. So without further ado, let's carry on. So we've created our random numbers and I want to do this for 4 tickets. So I'm just going to take this now, I'm going to do Control copy, and I'm going to do Control V to paste it. That's two tickets, and I'm going to move over a little bit more here in AI. I'm going to do Control V there as well, and I'm going to move over a little bit more. Oh, gone too far there, and again in column AT, do Control V. So I've now got 4 variations, and those, if I press F9 to recalculate, they should all calculate based off this as a template and randomizing that sort on each column. So now I want to give each of these a name range reference to the ticket set. So I'm going to call this one here, I'm going to type ticket numbers 1, like so, and I'm going to hit return. Now what I'm going to do is just copy this here, grab it, copy it, because I want to reuse that, and then I'm going to take this one here and I'm going to name this as my ticket numbers 2. That's my set 2, and hit return. I'm then going to take this one, which will be my ticket numbers set 3, and then I'm going to take this one here and make this my ticket numbers set 4. Hit return. So now I've named my ticket numbers, we need to do a way of randomizing the sets, the selection of the sets. So when for example, when I'm choosing ticket set 1, which combination here am I going to use for it? Yeah, so which of these combinations here am I going to use where we've created this ticket pattern combination? So the way that I'm going to do that is, so first of all, then I want I want a random set. So I want a row for my random set. So I'm going to random set. Let's make these headings this. This will be my set 1. Let's move this over to 4 for our 4 tickets. Let's make that a little bit wider. And then I also want my combination. So which ticket combination will that relate to? Yeah. So I'm going to go combination set, like so. And again, just make this column a little bit wider so we can see it. So the first thing is I want to randomly choose. So remember, we've got 12 combinations here that we created. So in here, I'm going to create, I want to generate 12 random selections as far as the set's concerned. So we've got 12. So we're going to do equals rand. I'm going to use the RANDBETWEEN function. So my bottom number is going to be 1 and my top number is going to be 12 sets. I'm going to hit return. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that formula across. And remember, because we've got manual calculation here, I'm just going to do F9 to get those to calculate, and there you can see it's randomly selected some sets. So if I just keep doing that, and it just generates, and you can see these numbers also generating on the sets. Perfect. So now based on that, if you can remember, on here, so if I take this set here, this combination set, we call it ticket com 1, 2, 3, and so on. So I want to take this here. If I'm just going to control copy that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the choose function. So I'm going to go equals choose. So my index number is going to be this cell here above, comma, and then I want to put in my ticket combination. So I'm going to put them as text. So if I just do that first one, ticket com 1, yeah, and then do comma. So if it's number 1, it will choose this. If it's 2, it will choose the next combination in this ticket combinations. So let me just update and add all the ticket combinations from ticket com 1 to 12 in here. And there you go, done. So we've now got all the ticket combinations. So here, if it's 12, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so and so on, and it'll return ticket com 12. So if I hit return, and there you go. So then I'm just going to copy that formula across to our 4 sets. And let's just make these a little bit wider so we can see what it's returning. Yeah. And again, if I press F9 to get to calculate, and there you go, you can see it's returning those ticket combinations. So next, for each ticket, ticket 1, ticket 2, 3, and 4, we want it to do the combination, don't we? We want to return the combination based on this random selection here. And then for ticket 1, we'll then overlay that with these numbers here on ticket 1, on set 1. So let's do ticket 1 here. Yeah. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do a VLOOKUP. We're going to use the indirect function to refer to a name range here. So ticket 8. So if we use ticket 1 and we're using the row number here, 1 to 18. So if we go to ticket numbers, so we need a row here. So you need to know what row we're looking at. And again, if I just do equals sequence, and I do 18 there, hit return, and there you go, it's giving me 18 rows. And I do shift control down, shift control arrow down, and do control copy, and shift control V to turn it into values only. Yep. So there's our values. Let's press escape there. So I've now got my rows 1 to 18, but now I need to know what column I'm looking up. So if I've got that row and I'm on column 1, so let's do my column 1 there. So we've got 9 columns. Yeah. So there are 9 columns. So for column 1, I need to look up in this ticket combination. So say row 1. So my first pattern here is going to start 1, 2, 3. So that's where the number starts, 3. So if I go to my ticket numbers and I start it from there, 3, 4. Let me just copy that across as a series. Yeah. So for column 2, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's column 2. See, and I'll pull that in. So what we want to do, yeah, is we want to do a VLOOKUP. So if I do equals VLOOKUP, my lookup value is going to be the row here. So if I select that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to press F4, then F4 again, and then F4 again. So it's just the column that's absolute, but I want the row to change as I copy it down, yeah? And then as far as my array, I want to use this number here, this ticket combination here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do indirect. So remember, the indirect function turns a text to a range. Yeah, I'm going to do indirect, and I'm going to choose this cell here, and I'm going to make it absolute F4. So it's F16, and then close the bracket on the indirect, and then my column number is going to be above here. So that's going to be the column number, as in the index. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that the row absolute. So I'm going to use F4, F4 again, and just make that row absolute. Yeah, so then when I copy it to the right, it moves accordingly relatively as far as the column's concerned. But when I copy it down, it doesn't move. And then my final argument is I want an exact match here. So I'm going to choose that, close that bracket, and if I hit return, I get a 1. So basically on ticket combination 8, it's saying column 1, I get, I've got a 1 there. So let's just check that combination. So there's my ticket combination here. There's that named range, ticket combate. It's found 1 in that, and it's looked over and it's found a 1 in that column. Perfect, in that column 1. So that works. So let me just go home on that one. So let's just copy that. All, oh, not move it, copy it. If I press F9, and there you go. And that should change each time this randomly generates here. So if I press F9 again, you can see it moves. So let's take that now and let's just copy that down like so. Let's do F9, and there you go. We've got all the tickets. Yep. So the next thing I want to do here is I need to understand what to choose from here. So now I want to pick a number. So I want to be able to place a number from here based on where it is here. So if we take row 1, I need it to allow for the fact that I've got, I don't want it to keep taking this number or this number, but I've got to figure out a way to get it to move down these numbers here and select a number from the appropriate column and place it accordingly here based on this pattern, based on the 0s and 1s, if that makes sense. So the way that I'm going to do that is I need to understand which column to select. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do select C1. So that's my column. I'm just going to drag that across, so we should have 9 columns. Yeah. Now, what I want to do is I want to sum, and I'm going to use the sum function. So if I do equals sum, right, as this sum moves down the range, I want it to grow and expand from here. So first of all, I want it to sum the first row. So for column 1, so it should have 0. So therefore, there's nothing being picked. Yeah. The next column, I want the first row to stay fixed, but then I want it to sum between row 24 and row 25, if that makes sense. And then it'll pick up a 1. And therefore, on the second row, I am going to fill that that cell, and I'm going to pick it from here. So from row 1, number 1, I'm going to go to the right, and I'm going to pick up this 9. So let me just demonstrate that. So if I sum this cell here and do a colon, so at the moment I'm summing B24 to B24, and I do that. Now, if I drag this down and do F9, so it calculates, I just get these ones, exactly the same thing, but I don't want that. I want to use this to choose which row I collect here from this ticket combination for my first set. So what I'm going to do is on this B24 here, I'm just going to do F4 and fix that and hit return. Yeah. But what I want to do is I only want to fix the row. I don't want to fix the column because I want to be able to copy this formula across to the right. So again, hit return. So now I've fixed it, I'm going to drag that down to the bottom. And now if I do F9, and there we go. As you can see, it's picking 1, then it's got the 2, then it's got 3, all the way to 9. And that's perfect because we only have 9 numbers in the first column. The rest of them will have 10 apart from this column, which will have 11. So let's copy that. Oh, let's copy that across. Do F9 to calculate, and there you go. So the last one should be max 9, 10, and 11. Brilliant. So now we know for each of these cells, if there's a 1 there, which row it's collecting it from. Yeah. So then the final piece of this ticket combination is we need, so if I go column, and let's do the columns here again. So column 1 and hit return. I then drag this over to 9. So there are my 9 columns. Is I now need to look up if this does not equal 1, then I just want a blank cell. However, if it does equal 1, then I want to do a VLOOKUP. And my VLOOKUP, so for this, if I scroll over here, so for this cell, column 1 here, there's a 1 there, I will want it to do a VLOOKUP based on this ticket here. So it'll be 1. The row will be run here based on the select. So it'll be 1, and it'll take 7. Yeah. So let me just do that. So if we do equals if this cell here does not equal 1, then we're just going to return a blank cell. However, if it's not, we're going to do a VLOOKUP, and our value for that VLOOKUP, yeah, is going to be this cell here. So if I select that cell there, right, and again I want it to move, and then as far as my array, that's going to be ticket numbers 1, that 9 range that represents this. Yeah. Now, as far as the column index, I need to put something across here. So let me just reference here. Yeah. And I'm going to make that again. I'm going to F4 it, and then F4 it again, just to make the row absolute. And then I'm going to close, and then I'm going to do comma, and my final argument is going to be, if I move that across, it's going to be an exact match. So I'm going to choose false. I'm then going to close the bracket on the VLOOKUP, and then I'm going to close the bracket on the if statement and hit return, and I'll get an error. So what I need to do now is, again, I need to say, well, column 1, this is column 1, so from here it's going to be 1, 2, so we start at 2. So I'm going to do 2, 3, 4, 5, and let me just copy that series across. I could do a sequence again, and there we go. Now if I press F9, I've got a blank. Let's press F9 again. So I've got a 2 there this time based on that recalculation by pressing F9. And if we look over here, so row 1, column 1, we've got a 1. As far as the column select here, it's going to be row 1 here. So that's row 1 of column 1 is 2. And if I then drag that across like so and do F9, and there you go. So it's now copied those numbers across. And if I take this, drag that down all the way to the bottom there, and do F9, we've now got our numbers for our tickets. Yeah. So because I've made this an absolute reference to here, and then these here, I've if I look at these here, when I'm looking at these, I've also made that an absolute reference to that there. Is all I've got to do now then is I need to copy this down for the next ticket. So if I just take this and I copy this all now we've worked it out, and I'm just going to leave a gap there. I'm going to do Control V, and what I'm going to do, if I just escape that, I'm going to make that ticket 2, hit return, and now if I do F9, these are all going to be exactly the same, and we're going to get a bunch of errors. So I just need to fix some things in here. So for example, if we look at this one as far as the column reference, and we look at this, that's all fine, except it now needs to point to this ticket number, ticket combination 2. So all I'm going to do is across all these columns here, and we can see F16, that now needs to be a G to move it to the right. So if I select all these and do Control F to find, and then I'm just going to do the $. So I'm going to find F and dollar, like so, and then I'm going to replace it with $, and I want G, the next column along. Do $, yeah, and do replace all. That's now replaced all those. And again, if I just do F9 there on that one, so these have all changed and they should be different, as you'll notice. So slightly different now, different combinations. Now this one here, again, it's summing this up here because remember we locked B24. So again, all I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all these here, and I'm going to do Control Find, yeah, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to make $24, and I'm going to replace it with $, so it needs to start at 45, and then I'm going to do replace all and do OK. If I close that, and now everything seems to be fine. If I do F9, and that's now summing these up here. Now finally here, this is all okay, except I need to make this ticket numbers 1, ticket numbers 2 to point it to not this range, but this range, the ticket set number 2. So again, all I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all these here. I'm going to do Control Find, and all I'm going to do is replace the last few digits there. So I'm going to find ERS1 at the end there, and I'm going to replace it with ERS2, and then I'm going to replace all and close, and close that. And now when I do F9, so this here, so you can see the ticket combination column 1, you can see the numbers are different, the spaces are different, and you can see I've got 581. These are all in random orders. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to repeat that exercise for ticket number 3 and ticket number 4. So let me just do that. Now I'm just doing the last one. So numbers 3, and I'm going to replace that with ERS4, replace all, done. And there you go. If I do F9, that's all my ticket combinations. So ticket 1, if we just scroll over to here, you can see for each ticket set now there's different combinations here of the numbers for our bingo tickets. So we're now ready to create our bingo tickets, and that's where I'll end this video, which is part 2. Part 3 will be coming soon, and I'll show you how to do those build those bingo tickets and format them so they look nice. And please remember to click that like, subscribe, and smash that notifications button so you don't miss any future content. And as always, I wish you an absolutely wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Please take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video from Change, Tips and Tools. Bye bye now.